go time.
The boys are back. That's right, Florida Man Sports is here with another exciting episode. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. This is Florida Man Sports.
Ladies and gents, Florida Man Sports is back. Welcome to what I consider a very special episode, Johnny Cinco, because here at Florida Man Sports, we're switching gears. Basketball season is done.
Yes.
Free agency is done, and we're moving gears to probably one of the best parts of Major League Baseball, the break where we get the home run derby, Johnny.
Yeah.
We get the what is it, the home run derby, the All-Star game, right?
It's a Major League Baseball,
the festivities,
the All-Star weekend.
The best time in baseball as we get going here, and also some NFL news, Johnny. But let's jump right in. Let's talk about the derby, and let's talk about the game. What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on the winners too?
Well, one, the best part of baseball is the Fall Classic, obviously going into the playoffs there. But the second best would be the All-Star
as of right
break,
now, because in the beginning the games are slow, and so right now we're at the best time in baseball.
No.
Good Lord.
The best time in baseball is in October. You know,
they know what I mean.
But still, you guys watched this weekend. You saw that Teoscar Hernandez, he won the home run derby. It was actually a good final round against Bobby Witt Jr. It was a lot of fun to watch. Ohtani, he goes and blasts a 3-run shot in the All-Star game itself, but that was the total offense for the National League. AL takes it and kind of goes off. Soto had a 2-run single that went ahead and got the ball rolling, come back, but then obviously we saw that the MVP actually goes to the guy who hit another home run, wins the MVP, which is the Ted Williams Award for the All-Star MVP.
About Jarren Duran?
Jarren Duran, Thank you. So Duran wins it. Boston Red Sox win it. The greatest Red Sox of all time has that MVP trophy. It's named after him, so it was fitting that kind of works out there. But guys, the story of the All-Star weekend wasn't the game, wasn't the home run derby. It was fun. It was all good. But the story, the national anthem.
My gosh.
That was the story. I watched it live, and I'm like, what? Maybe it's the audio. The worst national anthem.
Worse than Fergie?
No, that took over. Fergie was the pinnacle. That took over. What was this chick's name here? Was it Oscar-nominated country star Ingress Address, which I'd never heard of before.
I was going to say neither did I. Up to this point, I did not hear about
it's Oscar. Grammy nominated. She was supposed to be a big deal. 31 years old, I believe. She the worst. And if you guys are watching, then you guys, I'm gonna go and put a little piece right here so you guys can hear a little sample of it. If you're listening on to a podcast, listen to Apple Podcasts or through iHeart, then just go ahead and take a peek at that yourself, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about.
So we're saying worst all time?
The worst national anthem of all time, the Major League Baseball home run derby. You can check it out. They had some other country star do the.
You know what's kind of weird to me though. I know that these people, Johnny, before they do the national anthem in all venues, Super Bowl, right, NBA even. They practice before.
No.
So no, they do though. No, they do. They do practice.
No, you're right.
So the question is, where did we go wrong with her, and where did somebody say, "Hey, young lady, this ain't working"? Like, where did that happen?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
Ingress apparently after, because we all heard it and was like, "What did we just watch and listen to?"
Right.
Immediately goes on social media afterwards and says, "I'm sorry, I was drunk." She goes, this is somebody who's a nobody. Outside of Nashville, nobody's ever heard of this person. And this is her shot. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like, you go on there, I'm like, man, you got some good public relations people saying, hey, my bad, I was drunk. I'm checking myself into rehab. Just doing the same crap that people do. Listen, I'm sorry to tell you, your career is over. You cannot survive.
God, career's over. Stop it.
I'm telling you. Okay, Chris. This is somebody who's up and coming in the country music world.
Okay.
She has some Grammy nominations. She's doing everything. What you can mess up a lot. You can get drunk, and there's plenty of country music stars who get drunk and trash hotels, do the rock star vibe. What you cannot do as a country music artist is botch the national anthem.
Sure. Okay.
And I'm telling you, Chris, the national anthem was botched.
Time out.
Bad.
Yes, we agree there. But look, first of all, if it's true what it says, in fact, that she did have a problem as far as checking herself in and all that, then all jokes aside, I don't care who you are, I wish you nothing but the best. Because if that has something to do with it, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Second of all, Johnny, this is the United States of America, baby. We're known for second chances. And sure enough, this young lady will get a second opportunity to redeem herself. I disagree with you wholeheartedly. In fact, if she genuinely has a good voice, I see her coming back and getting redemption. Maybe it's for a hockey game. Maybe not a baseball game. Maybe for a hockey game or something. But I feel like she'll get another chance.
Here's the thing.
She should get another chance. It's America.
Here's the thing.
America.
If you guys heard the voice isn't that good. So it's not that good. It's not that good to begin with. And then you saw where she messed up several times. And I played the clip here. You guys can see it for yourselves. So where it's like, yeah, regardless, it's not that good. So you're someone who doesn't necessarily have the same talent as like a Carrie Underwood or the premier names in country music. And then you come out and you get your shot in the Major League Baseball home run derby and you blow it because you decided you want to be drunk. It's like, yo, you're 31 years old. You're not a kid anymore. What do you do? You haven't made a name for yourself. And you come out, you're blaming the alcohol. And it was, listen, as far as I'm concerned, you can survive this. Fergie survived it because, one, she was a pop star.
She got the Black Eyed Peas over there.
Yeah, pop star. She
was with a hot beat. You're back in the game.
But the thing is that she was a pop star that had, platinum records behind her. That everything else, people she's seen that what she can do. This is a nobody that outside of Nashville,
according
nobody
to
really.
Johnny.
I mean,
Novella Johnny, bro. Come on.
You've heard of Ingris Address before?
No, I have not.
I listen to a little bit of country music, not so much as your brother. But a little bit of country music, but I would have heard of Ingris Address if she was anyone relevant, and she's not.
Now our millions of viewers, Johnny, are going to go and Google her, and she's going to become famous. So now go Google her.
That's true.
Don't listen to Johnny. I'm going to Google her tonight. I won't.
You can see somebody, if you want to see someone who hates America, Ingris Address, because that is the worst. Hey, listen, if it's going to be bad, Chris, it's be the absolute worst. And congratulations, Ingris. You are the absolute worst.
I hope she gets some redemption in the not so distant future.
Nah.
As far as the festivities go, Johnny, as we approach this halfway point, let's talk about it. It's all baseball right now, Johnny. And let's start with the AL East and the NL East, and we'll go from there. Start with our Florida teams.
Yeah.
Any surprises, the good, the bad, the ugly? Give it to me, buddy.
No, what the All-Star game, it was fun. We saw it. But still, with everything I mentioned, the highlight was the worst national anthem of all time. The All-Star game marks the halfway point in the Major League Baseball season. So like you mentioned, the AL East we're going to begin with. In the AL East, we have our Tampa Bay Rays. What did I say preseason, Chris? The Tampa Bay Rays.
You said that there would be number one. I said, no, Johnny, there won't be number one. There's
anyway,
a struggle.
So what I had mentioned.
That's not what happened?
That's not what happened.
Okay.
What I mentioned, which is factual, is that the Rays all season are going to hover around the 500 mark. They're never going to be too much. At most, expect 500.
You wanted the time because they're 48 and 48 right now?
They are 500.
Okay.
And if you listen to our show, I said that the Rays will be hovering around 500 all year.
And here they
They're
are.
never going to go over 5 games over 500, which they haven't. They're going to hover right around there, and they are exactly 500 right now. But a month ago, really, it comes down to the Yankees were the absolute best team in baseball.
Until Johnny what?
The absolute best team in baseball.
Until Johnny what?
And ultimately, right now we see Baltimore as the first place team in the AL East by 1 game.
Yeah.
We saw the Yankees just go ahead. They didn't win back-to-back games in over a month.
Right.
In over a month, they didn't win back-to-back games. And finally, they beat Baltimore back-to-back. They're there. They're going to go ahead and do the 3-game sweep to end the first half of the season going into the All-Star break, and they lose that 3rd game with back-to-back errors in the 9th. After going into the 9th with 5-3 lead, they have a error by Volpe, then an error by Verdugo, and then the game is still. But ultimately, the Yankees' problems haven't really been a result of their defense, even though they lost that game to their defense. What's hurt the Yankees more than anything is their pitching. Now, in the first half of the season going into the month of June, the Yankees had the absolute best, you can argue the best pitching staff in baseball. They were absolute killing it. And Soto and Judge have been essentially a cheat code for Major League Baseball. They've been dominant there. Everybody else has been a joke since June. It's driving me nuts. The pitching staff, the month of June, the pitching staff averaged 5.26 ERA, ranked 26th in baseball. 29th in baseball. What's insane is that the month before, they were the absolute best in baseball with a 2.37 ERA.
So then what changed? What changed?
No, it's just the pitch. Ultimately,
I understand that. But what changed? Was it injuries? What changed that caused the shift?
No. There was the injury that we had. Actually, Cole was out. We had the best pitching staff in baseball, arguably, without our best pitcher in Cole, who was out before the season with the injury. He came back. He's been doing his thing. But ultimately, the pitching staff just fell off the cliff, Chris. They were dominant, and then all of a sudden they forgot how to pitch. They went from first to almost last in a month, which is unheard of in baseball.
Almost like if somebody said something about them being the best team and then somehow jinxed them and then they fall down. It's like this certain that just continues to happen on this podcast.
That's not accurate at all.
Where you can't even look at me with a straight
That's
face
not
right
accurate.
now. Literally, he talks about the greatest team in baseball and then he jinxes them and then they go on their downfall. They have the word. You literally just said it's an unprecedented month. How was this possible? Right? You just literally said that.
Sure. Go ahead.
That's how it's possible. So will you now admit that you are the jinx of sports?
No.
That's what the fans want to know.
When I mentioned the Yankees were at the first place and everything else,
okay.
We didn't talk about baseball for a week, so we didn't talk about anything else. Nothing to do with that. I mean, ultimately,
Cashman? Yes. He's asking for you to stop talking about the Yankees.
So we did.
Yeah,
let me see the earpiece. Let me see. It's plugged in. It's in there. It's in there permanently. But it was a combination of the implosion with pitching, and then our offense just at the same time. Anybody who's not named Judge or Soto essentially played like a bunch of minor leaguers. The average in the month of June since June 15th, that's somebody who's not named Soto or Judge, 202 batting average.
Terrible.
280 on base percentage with a 316 slugging. Horrible minor league numbers. It's something you can't. You were at such a dominant team, and then your pitching goes from first to last. Your hitting goes from first to last within a month's period. And I'm surprised. I'm grateful with the numbers that I've seen that still the Yankees are only one game back. They should have been tied with the Orioles, one game back.
It's still the halfway point. So before we move to the NL East, Johnny, any other surprises? I know you said the 500 Rays, right? We've got Baltimore at the top just by a game. Everything else is going pretty much to stature in that division.
I'm surprised with Toronto. Toronto, which I wasn't expecting them to do, to win the division, but still they had Vladimir Guerrero, they have Boucher, they have a good young talent that they built around. They're in dead last.
They're on pace with the games predicted, though, at the beginning of the year. They're on pace to be, they're not.
Ultimately, for me, I expected them to be ahead of the Rays. And the Rays, the Rays are not doing great. They're 500. But they're still in third place. With the Toronto being in dead. Remember, Toronto still made the playoffs last year. So they're dead last in the AL East right now. So ultimately, for me, I see the Toronto trading. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to be traded. I see Bichette going to be traded, and the Toronto is going to be in complete rebuild mode. They built this entire team around those two prospects, and obviously Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It's been an All-Star year in, year out. Bichette was an All-Star last year. These are good players, and it's interesting. I'm very interested in knowing where Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to go. I mean, that's really the prime dude. Vladimir Guerrero's son, where is he going to go? I know he can play for the Yankees. He hates the Yankees. And still, Toronto's not trading him within the division. It's going to be interesting where he's going to go. I guarantee you, Chris, those two players, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Dante Bichette, or his sons, is going to be traded.
That's exclusive here first to Florida Man Sports. We get these right from time to time, Johnny, as far as those goes, those predictions early. So you heard it here. I want to remind everyone that's still listening to please like and share, follow us on all the platforms. We are streaming on all platforms, Johnny. Let's talk about the National League East now, because we want to talk about our other Florida team where, once again, hate to be right in this, Johnny, where we called it 33-63. The Marlins are where they thought we would be. There would be. How do you see this division going?
Yeah, the Marlins, you're where you're supposed to be. You guys are, 30 games under 500 right now. The Marlins, it's the same story with the Miami Marlins. Horrible ownership, horrible management.
At the top, yeah.
They made some moves to do things correctly, and then when they start to do things correctly, they realize that's not us, and they backed out. So that's where they're at. No big surprise there. The Philadelphia Phillies are currently the most dominant team in baseball. Absolutely dominant. 62-34 record.
Reason for me to flex.
Yeah, go and flex since Chris jumped on that bandwagon after he called for the Braves. Braves are winning, and then Acuna goes down, and it's like, oh, never mind.
Braves are still doing okay.
Braves are still okay. They're second, but they're 8.5 games back.
Yeah, they got some work to do.
8.5 games back behind the Phillies.
Yes.
They're not going to recover from Acuna being injured. Remember, this happened the last time they won the World Series, but there's nobody on the team that's a leader like Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman was the leader of this team, who's currently on the Dodgers. He was the guy. There's nobody on that team.
You don't think the Braves make a comeback this?
Braves are not making a comeback. Braves are making.
I disagree.
Like I mentioned previously, Phillies winning this division. The Braves are making the playoffs on a wild card. Ozuna is doing well, but it's going to be. They're still not going to do anything. Ozuna isn't the guy. He doesn't have the leadership capability to go ahead and take this team on his back and carry them through the postseason like Freeman did. It's just not going to happen. Acuna's injury, last year's MVP, is too big of a loss for this team to handle. So they're going to do their best, but when it's all said and done, the Atlanta Braves will finish in second place. And who are we kidding? Obviously, the Mets and Nationals are where they should be.
Yeah, both of them are there. Are the projected wins? They're on schedule for the wins. They're going to
be right there. They're not going to make the playoffs. I'm not interested in that. The Mets have been a perennial disappointment. The fans are used to it, so everything is in place. The Braves were supposed to win this division with Acuna being injured. They're out. Phillies are the best team in baseball right now.
Keyword there is right now. Johnny, and to your point, I agree with that as far as what's going on with the Marlins and the Phillies. I disagree with you on the Braves. I mean, we both agree they're going to be a wild card team, but I feel like they're not done yet. I feel like they have enough to win there. So I'm sticking with the Braves. I picked the Braves and the Yankees, if you remember correctly.
You did pick the Braves and the Yankees.
I did, and I'm sticking with them.
You picked the 1996 World Series.
I'm sticking with them.
What do you mean you're sticking with them? You switched to the Phillies. You going back to the Braves?
That's none of your business. Moving on to the American League Central and West, Johnny. Well, let's start with the Central, where the Cleveland Guardians are just, that's actually for me, and I know you're going to talk a little bit more about that, but that to me is my shocker of this season so far. So excited to see what they're doing.
How is it a shocker? I called them beforehand.
New coach.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
New coach. The coach is raw as raw can be. He was 2022. He retired. So to me, that's a big deal. Nobody was expecting. You can say sure whatever you want, Johnny. Nobody was expecting.
You can sit here and say nobody. Luckily, I'm a baseball mastermind, and I said in the preseason that the AL Central is going to the Cleveland Guardians. So I said the Cleveland Guardians,
as it stands.
Go ahead.
Relax, okay. Everybody,
give me my props.
Everybody was predicting a 500 record for this team.
Not me.
Okay, we got to remember they won 76 games last season.
I do remember,
games,
and I still called the Guardians to win the Central.
The last thing I'll say is that they're on pace for a franchise record 104 wins. So kudos to you, Guardians.
Kudos to Johnny.
That to me is like the biggest thing as far as the Central. How do you see the Central going?
Oh, how do I see the Central going? Let me see exactly how I said it.
I was right, you were wrong, but I mean everything else.
Yeah, sure. Listen, what I said preseason was not only that the Guardians are going to win the Central, that this team, this is a surprise a lot of people. They're going to do some damage in the playoffs.
And before you count your chickens, they're doing great. I'm very impressed with them, but they're only 4.5. It's only 4.5 games.
That's great. All I said was that in the Central that they're going to win. The AL Central, they're going to go ahead and win. That's the point. They're 4.5 games up. I understand that.
I hate when you do this because now you're jinxing them.
The thing is that with the team that I'm most surprised about in the Central are the Royals. The Royals, obviously, they're right there in second place. The Royals man, Bobby Witt has turned into one of the best shortstop, if not the best shortstop in the American League. He's doing an outstanding job. The pitching staff has really come around. So the Royals, which I did not expect, I expect to be as a wild card team into the playoffs to do some damage as well. So the Central is going to produce the Indians and the Royals into the playoffs here. I'm telling you, the Guardians, this is a scrappy team, a good young talent. Everybody I saw in the All-Star game here, great coaching. That's why I said, no, this is going to surprise a lot of people. Just wait and see. And let me just go ahead. Hold on. Let me just pat myself on the back. Yep, thank you very much.
And now,
good call, Johnny.
And folks
good call,
that listen
Johnny.
to Florida Man Sports, now you know what's going to happen to the Guardians. Stay tuned.
Yeah,
Another exclusive here.
Sure.
If you're one of those gamblers, guys, stay away from the Guardians.
Pull your money.
Thanks to Johnny. The AL West, buddy. How's the AL West going?
Well, the AL West, this is the tightest race in baseball with the Mariners, Astros, and Rangers essentially being 5 games back. I picked
It's not the tightest.
Huh?
It's not. Go ahead, continue.
The AL West.
It's not the tightest, but go ahead.
It is, for me, it is the tightest because while in those 3 teams, it's separated 5 games there with the Rangers being 5 games back, but the Mariners and Astros being 1 game back. Okay. I expect the Rangers to come back and win this particular division.
Oh, wow.
With the Mariners going ahead and finishing second. The Houston Cheaters are going to go ahead. I mean, listen, the Houston Cheaters may make some moves.
You got to give them credit.
I do give them credit. Yeah, I give them credit for cheating so well. Yeah. So, like, they still may make some moves. So with Jazz being available from the Marlins, we'll see. I think Houston may make a move for him. So they can make some moves to push it. But right now with the rosters that I'm looking at here, I still see the Rangers pushing through. DeGrom's going to be here. He's going to go ahead and do everything.
We always say we give it to the champs until they otherwise prove it, right?
Well,
prove us wrong.
DeGrom hasn't been back yet. He's going to be back. This is their big acquisition. You know, like one of the best pitchers. He was the best pitcher in baseball before his injury. So with DeGrom, I see the Rangers making their push to go ahead and winning this particular division, even though they didn't win it last year. But the Mariners are always going to give them a fight. But I have the Rangers and Mariners going back and forth. Astros are going to go ahead and great fight halfway through. They're going to trickle off.
Unfortunately, I disagree with you, Johnny. I see the Houston Cheaters, the Houston Astros, Eddie. I see them going number 1, winning this thing. I see the Texas Rangers as number 2, and I see Seattle as a team that's going to plummet. I see them as number 3 in this division. So
okay, I mean it's fun. I'm usually right on these things, but we'll see if Chris prevails with his.
Moving on to the National League Central, Johnny, where you got the Brewers number 1. This to me, Johnny, when you were talking about the closest division, all 5 teams in this division is 8.5 games from first. So for me, this is the closest and toughest division. How do you see the Central going, National League Central?
So the 8.5 games separated, and then the AL West, like I mentioned, there was 5 games separated between the top 3 teams. But you're right, I got the whole thing there.
The whole thing, yeah.
Biggest surprise for me is I picked the Cubs to win this division, and they're in last place, 8.5 games back. So this particular division threw me off with the Brewers. The Brewers are always there, but I expected the Cubs to go ahead and show some grit and really take this division. With the Brewers holding it down, surprising pitching. Offense has been really doing very well. It can go any way, but I have to go and hold on to my pick that the Cubs are going to figure it out and find their way.
Well,
props to Milwaukee.
The closest they have an opportunity. So
yeah, props to Milwaukee. Milwaukee's is there. They're 8.5 game lead from the bottom there, but yeah, everybody's knocking on that door. The NL Central can go to anyone there, but so right now Brewers on top. I still expect somehow the Cubs to pull it out with 8.5 games back.
For me, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're like the Tampa Bay Rays of this division, of this side, in my opinion. 500 team. I mean, do you expect them to be a wild card team?
Well, I mentioned to be careful, that the Pirates are something to be reckoned with, but I didn't expect the Pirates to really force them. Skees was the rookie coming in. Obviously started the All-Star game. This guy has been the best pitcher in baseball since they brought him up, but that's one guy. It's a 5-man rotation. Yeah. So one guy in the 5-man rotation, you're not going to win it. Pedro Martinez was the best pitcher in baseball for a long time. Greg Maddux was the best pitcher in baseball for a long time. They didn't win every championship, guys. You're only pitching once every 5 days. So with Skees there, once every 5 days, he's been dominant. But the Pirates are there. Everybody's knocking on the door. If it's for anyone to take, I just have to stick with my original pick. Chicago Cubs.
You're going down with the sinking ship. Florida Man Sports, again, streaming on all platforms, folks. Let's put a bow on this halfway in the season, Johnny. Now let's talk about the National League West, where you and I both agree the Dodgers were number one to start this year. They're still number one, rightfully so. The Diamondbacks, they're in second. You know, they're a 500 team. They're in second.
Okay.
You said that they would be last.
I didn't say they were going to be last.
You said that they were not. You did.
What kind of gaslighting nonsense are you saying?
I want everybody
right
to look at previous episodes.
Sure.
How do you see this division at the midway point?
Listen, we don't need to have a whole long discussion about this. It's the same way I said. I don't know what Chris is talking about. Is the word the Dodgers are going to go ahead and win this division. They spent all the money. They were up 20 games. 20 games. Not on the last place team, on the second place team, which was the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are still in second place in the division, 7 games back there.
Isn't that a little disappointing, though? All the money they spent, and it's gotten you 7 games?
It's not.
Isn't that a little disappointing?
It doesn't matter. Okay, when you went ahead and had a 20-game lead on your second place, the division rival, and then you face them in the playoffs and lose, it doesn't really matter as long as you go ahead and win a division. I don't care what you do in the regular season in LA. You have to show what you can do in the postseason. Everybody knows this. Every baseball fan has seen the Dodgers win several divisions. I don't care. Nobody cares. Show up in the playoffs, LA. And with this team, it's hard not. You know where I stand. I picked the Dodgers and the Yankees to meet in the World Series. So I expect the Los Angeles Dodgers to go ahead and still win the division and go ahead and handle things. But the division crown isn't the thing with LA. It's expected. Show up, please. Please show up in actual time when it matters in baseball playoffs. That's when it matters. That's when we need to show up.
Well, they got to stay healthy. They got to stay.
Yeah. That's what I think. It doesn't matter. The Dodgers, if you don't win a World Series, it's a complete waste. And people want to say like, no, getting to the World Series, winning the pennant is massive. No, if you don't win it all, you spend $700 million on one player. I mean, Mookie Betts has a ridiculous.
They'll be paying for him for years to come.
You have $1 billion in 2 players, in Mookie Betts and Shohei. So I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I don't care. You went ahead and had some smart math and kind of figured out these contracts there. And honestly, you're looking. Shohei is the best player in baseball. Shohei is definitely, for me, I see right now Judge is the clear favorite.
You think
MVP.
You think he's going to pitch next year?
Yes, he's already.
Okay.
He's not pitching this year, obviously. Recovering from Tommy John.
Right.
But next year he's going to go back into form, and I can't wait to see it. But this guy's still recovering from surgery and is 4 or 5 home runs behind Judge. Is still the best player in the National League.
No, I agree.
So respect to Shohei. You are hating on him because of the contract and hating on a guy who got his money. Get him his money.
I wasn't hating because of the contract. I wasn't hating because of the contract. I was hating because he's gambling. His buddy's gambling.
Yeah, his buddy was gambling. He chose his friends wrong.
Right.
Much like somebody else I know.
He chose them wrong.
Yeah, he chose them as friends wrong. Yeah. It's whatever you want to say, but
before we wrap up baseball, Johnny, any disappointments or anything as far as, because I do have a player that I'm a little disappointed in, but any disappointments?
I mean, for me, everything's going pretty much how I expected. The Cubs, I expected to be at top of their division, but they're not. But they're still in it because everybody's in it in the NL Central. But ultimately, the players I'm watching, like Soto is killing it. Judge is the best player in baseball.
We
in my
know
opinion.
you keep going to your Yankees, but now look,
no, but outside of that,
I'm going to talk about a disappointment for me.
Okay.
Jordan Montgomery, left-hander pitcher for the Diamondbacks. Here's why, Johnny. Here's why. One thing that I did say early in the season was that I don't expect the Diamondbacks to just lay down. Prove me until you prove me wrong.
All
and
right.
they got this guy from the Texas Rangers. They got him with the expectation that they were going to try to run it back to a degree, and he just basically has let them down. Not only that, but as far as the money is concerned, he plays 2 more games. That's $25 million fully vested in this kid. So for me, disappointment-wise, I'm going left-hand pitcher Jordan Montgomery.
I'm not mad at Montgomery. Montgomery was a former Yankee, was the worst decision that Brian Cashman ever made. So if you remember Montgomery being with us, was outstanding. And we went ahead and got rid of him for peanuts, for players that were not even on the team anymore. And we went ahead and traded him, and he winds up in the Texas Rangers and wins the Rangers a World Series.
That's what I'm saying.
And then he goes
to the Diamondbacks, and he lays an egg. Now the Diamondbacks are a 500 team.
Hey, you got your money. Because he should have got his money. He should have still be in the staff with the Yankees, which would really help us. But Brian Cashman made a terrible decision, and ultimately he winds up on a team. Hey, he's not doing as well as he did with the Yankees. He's not doing as well as he was doing with the Rangers. But hey, the Diamondbacks, you robbed the Yankees of a 9/11 World Series.
Wow.
With your nonsense. So you got what you got, man. So yeah,
Wow.
I'm not sorry for you. Good.
I was just giving you guys
keep going,
disappointments.
Montgomery.
Johnny
keep
takes
going.
things personal with the
keep
Yankees.
going.
Okay.
Keep going, and
All
keep losing games for the Diamondbacks. Good job. You're a true Yankee.
Well, he's injured right now, so Diamondback fans are
true
happy because right now he's
Yankee.
currently injured and he's been laying eggs.
True Yankee. Football season is right around the corner, Chris. And as we do every single week, we kind of go over, we pick a division, and we kind of go over a rundown here before the season starts on who we think is going to win that division. This week is up. Who we got? We have the AFC West. So the AFC West, Chris, break it down for me. Who you got winning this?
Well, short and sweet, everybody knows, and unless you're under a rock, Johnny, the Kansas City Chiefs are the number one team. We all know that, so it's nothing that's breaking news. They're the returning Super Bowl champions that are going to try to win 3 in a row because Tom Brady and the Bucs aren't there. So there's no question about it that it's the Kansas City Chiefs. What I think most fans are interested in, though, is where do we go from here? Because last year, Johnny, people thought the Chargers, a lot of people did, because they had the team and they had
one guy thought last
to
year
do it and the perfect quarterback to do it. But anyway, I digress.
That terrible coach
the way that it is right now, this division, besides the Chiefs, Johnny, is anybody's game, right? You've got the Chargers.
Anybody's game.
Well, look, you've got the Chargers that got a new coach.
Okay.
You've got the Broncos that got a new quarterback.
Okay.
And you've got the Raiders that are just the Raiders.
The Raiders,
right?
Yeah.
So there are all these options. But again, number one, Kansas City. This season, folks, Florida Man Sports. This season, number 2 will not be the Chargers. Number 2 is going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. Because here's what happens when you get a new coach, Johnny. When you get a new coach, people like to step up for the coach and they like to step up and play. And somehow the Raiders are going to win nasty football. They're going to win ugly, ugly games that only Lorenzo likes to watch. So I got the Raiders at number 2. Followed by the Chargers, and then the Denver Broncos with Sean Payton still trying to figure everything out with that new quarterback at number 4. So Kansas City, Raiders, Chargers, and Broncos.
I have this division exactly the same way.
Really?
Let's be clear. I have the same thing. Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos. Let's be clear, though.
Wow. Hey.
Nobody.
Wow.
Salud.
You should have used the glass.
Nobody.
They haven't paid us for the endorsement yet. You should have used the glass.
Nobody last year picked the Chargers to win except this guy here. So last year, this guy picks the Chargers. He thinks, point of view. Nobody picked the Chargers.
A lot of people picked the Chargers.
Staley was a terrible coach. I knew he was a terrible coach. And still, they were up and coming, but I knew that's not the guy that's going to pull them. And I'm not going to root against a team who's won the division like 5 years in a row. So like they won it back to back. And all of a sudden now, what do the Chargers have? And now the Chargers, they have a new coach. They're starting everything over again. It's a new squad. They're losing. Obviously, their Eckler's gone. They're losing a lot.
Their wide receiver core is gone. Yeah,
yes,
they're rebuilding.
They traded away all their wide receivers, so they're rebuilding on it. But it's still a good team. But still, they're not going to be worse than the Broncos. The Broncos, who are essentially probably going to be either a rookie. Or are they going to start your boy from the Jets?
It's not my. Why when somebody is bad, they're my boy?
Because you're terrible. You're terrible at the show, so you're terrible. And you're picked as your boy.
What juice are you drinking?
I'd
be really careful.
So it's a sign to each other. So it works out either way.
So we agree on this division, and again, it's Kansas City's to lose, which they're not. I don't see, unless barring any injury, right?
I appreciate you finally jumping on board. Last year,
I don't need to jump on board on anything.
Last year, my argument was simple. It's like, I'm not picking against Kansas City. They've won this division 5 years in a row. Why am I going to go ahead and pick against them? They were the champs. They're going to win. And now use the same exact argument.
The Bucs have won the division 4 years in a row last year, and you didn't pick them. What about that?
They haven't won 4 years in a row.
They won the division 4 years in a row. No. They won it with Brady 3 years in a row, and then they won it last year. That's 4.
That's inaccurate.
You know how to do math?
That's inaccurate.
Do you know how to do math?
Look it up here. That's inaccurate there.
Yeah.
No, that's
the
not
NFC South. They've won it 4 times.
No, 4 times, not 4 times in a row.
Yes, they did. They've won it every time
Brady
was there.
You're a huge Buccaneers fan.
You know how silly
you're a huge Buccaneers fan.
Okay,
like,
that's
but
terrible.
for mine,
Terrible.
I'm fine being wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Well, you're wrong.
But like what Brady, I'm understanding they won the championship as a wild card, so they didn't win that particular year as a division championship.
Brady,
boom,
Brady
got
was
him.
there for how many years, Johnny?
3 years.
How many years? Okay, Baker Mayfield.
1.
Okay, so how many
That's
divisions? Okay, so I said they're winning 4. Are you sure about the
Got him. Got him.
Are you sure about the wild card?
Thank you. I am very appreciative that this is recorded here.
So who won the division when we won the Super Bowl?
The Saints. Sir.
The Saints did?
And we beat them in the playoffs. They get there.
Who?
Look at him. Look at him. Look at him.
Who?
Tampa Bay Buccaneer lifer, gentlemen. Tampa Bay Buccaneer lifer there. There it is.
I blame Johnny. Working with him, week after week creates this. This is what happens. I think I'm drinking some of your juice.
The extra argument.
No, because we have won the division the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Forgive me for being off for a year. Sorry. Oh my gosh.
My apologies, sir.
The end of the world.
Don't try. You are pretty firm on 4 in a row. 4 in a row. No, sir.
It feels right. When you win the Super Bowl, you consider the division yours. Forgive me for I'm a Super Bowl champion, unlike the Patriots. My bad. My fault.
Yeah.
My fault.
How many championships? Yeah, 6 championships. Right?
Ooh.
Yeah, no.
Cares?
I'm not falling for that. It's all right. Okay. Very nice try. Chris, as we wrap up the show, and you being horribly and comically wrong.
I wasn't wrong.
Okay.
I wasn't wrong.
Oh, no, of course not.
We won the division 3 or 4 times.
Okay, add the or. Or is a very important word that you forgot there.
Wow.
So
we won one of those years we won the Super Bowl. My bad.
As we just run down the show, a couple of little fire back and forth good questions here. July 20th, Chris, the WNBA, the All-Star team, they're going to face off against the Olympic squad. Are you excited about this, Chris?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I know that you're going to be watching it very, like you watch all the WNBA games you've said in previous episodes, so I know you'll be watching it. But no, I do expect, though, for the Olympic team to do their job. Win the game. As much as I disagree with Caitlin Clark not being there, you are the WNBA going into the Olympics. You are the Olympic team. Go do your job. I expect them to win, John.
I mean, I don't know why you're such a misogynist, why you hate women so much, to where it's like, yes, I'm excited about the game. It's just I expect the Olympic team to go ahead and win this game, but it's still exciting.
Spell misogynist.
It's still like
spell misogynist.
I'm in the 6th grade.
Yeah. Spell
Nathaniel
misogynist.
Green Middle School spelling bee champ. Okay,
and he went to a school of 3 peers.
So so yes, but ultimately I'm excited about this game because of the fact that they went ahead and purposely left off Caitlin Clark.
That's not enough reason to be excited. Get off it, man.
It's enough because this is a game where most people wouldn't even watch, and now there's reason to watch because I don't care if the All-Star team wins. I just want a good showing from Caitlin Clark to shut up these great experts, the Olympic Committee, to pick, there's better players available. No, show up and shut them up.
It's clear that all you want to see is a cat fight, and you want to see people. And that's wrong. See, that's why you and I are different, right? I keep it real. At the end of the day, I do. It's the Olympics. I expect the Olympic team to win, and if they don't, that's a problem. That's a problem. Not because Caitlin Clark got left, I want to see it. No, stop. I want to watch it, and I want the Olympic team to win. Period.
Yeah, I expect the Olympic team to win, but man, do I want them to lose.
See,
how great of a story would it be?
You're talking about hating women. That's terrible.
Great
that's
would it
terrible.
Be?
This guy hates women. It's terrible.
The Jalen Brunson signs a 2-year extension for about half of what he would have gotten in 2 years from now. That type of selflessness, Chris, does that make the New York Knicks the 2nd best team in the East?
No, it makes them the maybe 5th or 4th team in the East, no matter what.
Who's better than the Knicks right now?
The Orlando Magic, the Boston Celtics. I would argue that they're as good as the Cleveland Cavaliers, depending on how the coach does this year. I'm tired of people. Because the guy pulls a Tom Brady and saves them on the cap, but we still don't even know who those players are. So you already want to crown somebody 2nd place without even actually doing the homework or doing the work for that matter and knowing who they're going to get. You're making an assumption that they are. Number one, the reason why the Knicks didn't finish the way they did, Johnny, is because they didn't stay healthy. So the idea that they're the 2nd best team when Jalen Brunson is injury prone.
He's injury prone.
What took him out of the playoffs? Johnny, what took him out of the playoffs?
He survived the whole the entire regular season. So that's not injury prone.
So number one, number two. He's not. No, it's not nonsense. It's facts.
He's not injury prone. He got injured in the playoffs.
This is Florida man
sports. He got injured in the playoffs.
So he got injured. Did he get injured?
It's not injury prone.
So I know that my counterpart here likes a good novella. I know that he likes, but he's also fake news Johnny. And so I'm gonna keep it real. Being the fact that you saved all this cap space and you have nobody to name for it, Johnny, doesn't make you the 2nd best team.
You're such a hater.
They're the 5th. No, it's not a hater. It's a fact. Now, if you were like, they saved all this money and they signed XYZ, then we can have a conversation. But right now, it's irresponsible for you to sit here and be like, are they number 2 now because they saved some money? Stop it.
The New York Knicks were the number 2 seed last year.
You got to stay healthy.
And they solidified that number 2 spot.
You got to stay healthy.
The Boston Celtics are still obviously held it down. They're the
I
best
can't believe
team in the East, if not in all of basketball. The New York Knicks are the number 2 team in the East. Solidified it.
They're the number 2.
Chisel it in stone.
They're the number
done.
2. They're
it's
the
done.
number 2
You
team.
had your say, sir.
If you're talking
I
top
don't
4
hear
from
it.
the bottom up, they're number 3
I don't want
to
hear it. They're like to say
Okay.
that they're behind the Magic and
you
the
just got
Cavaliers.
destroyed.
It's
You
complete nonsense.
You just got destroyed. You got
Sure,
destroyed.
sure.
Is he good because of
Yeah.
the cap space that
Yeah.
they're saving? But I can't name a player. That's what you sound like. That's what you
I
sound
got
like.
destroyed if today was opposite day. Oh!
Okay, I know that kids watch this.
Monty
This is not a kid's
Kiffin.
show.
Monty Kiffin, longtime defensive coordinator for the in the NFL in general, and the defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He passed away this week. Great defensive coordinator, son of Lane Kiffin, the coach for Ole Miss, former coach for the Raiders. How do you want to remember him, Chris?
I want to remember him for the genuine, passionate person that he always was when he got the mic in his hands, which was very rare because that's not the person that he was. But he was more than just a defensive-minded guru, Johnny. He was genuinely speaking, right? What happened with the transition from Dungy to Gruden? What was the thing that was there, the constant that was there?
Money.
There you go. And so at the end of the day, I want to remember him as the person that he was, man. I never knew him on a personal level, so I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to pretend to say things that I don't know. But I'm going to tell you something. Ask any coach around. And this guy lived, breathed football. And that's the way that he's going to go down as far as the Bucs. He's a Ring of Honor. He's one of the Ring of Honor guys. And, of course, obviously he's going to be missed for not just Bucs fans, but everyone around in the NFL.
There are certain football or just sports geniuses that create something that changed the game. Phil Jackson and the triangle offense, I should say. Triangle offense there changed the game. Bill Walsh with the West Coast offense in football changed the game. And Monty Kiffin with his Tampa 2 defense completely changed how we see defense. It's still run to this day. And it's the reason why Tampa Bay won their first ever Super Bowl. So respect.
You go one step too far. You go one step too far. But yes, to the great Monty Kiffin.
How is it one step
to the
too
great
far?
Monty Kiffin.
It's amazing that you went ahead and he created something. The Tampa 2 defense, which is still created today, arguably the best defense that was created in modern day. Still, it's something that's over 20 years as people are still using it. No, I respect that. I don't step one step too far. They're the reason. The defense for Tampa is the reason they won that first ever championship. Monty Kiffin was the constant in Tampa Bay. I give all the credit to their defense and maybe 1% to Tony Dungy, it was his team. But ultimately, respect here to Monty Kiffin. You will be missed. You are the reason Tampa Bay won their first championship. So, yes, Florida Man Sports salutes you and respects you, and rest in peace. Chris, Brandon Adjuk. He is demanding a trade, Chris. He obviously is the wide receiver for the 49ers. And here, again, demanding a trade. Do you see him going somewhere, and what is the best destination for Adjuk?
Before I answer that question, Johnny, Florida Man Sports, we always want to make sure that we do things right, and we always want to make sure that we say things right. Like when you so eloquently corrected me that it wasn't 4, it was 3, how you corrected me there.
Sure.
And especially when we're talking about the Tampa Bay Bucks, I want to make sure you don't say anything that is just irresponsible. And the Tampa 2 defense was actually created by Coach Tony Dungy. And I know Monty Kiffin had a lot to do with that.
Defensive coordinator.
Yeah, but it's Tony
Created by-
Dungy, and it's predominantly known as and addressed as the Tampa.
Why are you going to besmirch the
I
guy
want-
best?
so-
It was
so I'm not
created.
going to do
Monty
that. I'm not
Kiffin
gonna-
created
because-
Tampa 2.
because
can sit here and
it's not
besmirch his
true.
name.
It's not true. But there's so many more things to remember Monty Kiffin for.
You're trying so hard to prove me wrong
no,
that you're wrong.
no,
Just like you did with they won 4 years in a row. Like they did and won 4 years in a row.
I know, Johnny. I know how words. I know how like words
You're hurt. Hurt people hurt people. I get it.
I know
It's
how
okay.
words hurt.
It's
Facts
okay.
also hurt
It's
you. I get
okay.
that.
It's
I get
all
the
right.
facts
Nice
hurt
try.
you.
Nice
So
try.
at any rate, Tony Dungy, you give you respect, and Monty Kiffin, rest in peace, my friend. You're known
What
all
a-
over the world for obvious reasons.
douche.
Not the Tampa 2.
What a douche.
Now,
Look at him.
as far as our boy in San Francisco,
Spit on
this
Monty
is
Kiffin's grave.
I don't know why Johnny Cinco wants to bring it up when this is the 3rd time this guy's wanted to trade. I have no idea why he wants to bring this up as a point of conversation. But hey, this is Florida Man Sports. Let's talk about it. You like that, right? You like
Because
that?
you
like that, right?
you
like
piece
that, right?
of-
So
my
since we
God,
have to talk
you're
about it,
such-
and here's the deal, folks. Here's the deal, folks.
You are the worst.
He will get traded. He should get traded. Now, as far as where he should go, what I would love to see, I would love to see him go to the Jets. I see the Jets as a team that would be willing and to have the cap flexibility to make the moves to make that happen. They have enough pieces around that same budget to make the budget work, and they definitely have enough first-round picks. So I would like to see him go to the Jets. I think that this, if you are Aaron Rodgers and you are the New York Jets, this gives you just an added piece to help you win a Super Bowl. I know that we've heard rumblings about the Oakland Raiders. Not the Oakland Raiders, the L.A. Raiders. Excuse me.
It's Guy.
Yeah, that's how old I am. About Devontae Adams and doing like a straight trade for them with picks. Stop it. New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers, make the call. Lord knows you're the GM. That's where he should go.
He's not going to the Jets. The Jets already made their move.
Florida man exclusive.
The Jets already made their move with the wide receivers there. They pick up the kid from the Chargers, Williams. No, it's done.
That was over the summer.
Yeah, they're not making. They don't have the cap space.
He wasn't available then.
They don't have the money to go ahead and pick this guy up,
trade
dude.
Pieces to do it,
and they do not. So if you want to go ahead and get gaslit by this guy over here, then go ahead and go pick that. Ultimately,
when it happens.
Ultimately, what's going to happen is simple. He's not going anywhere. He's staying with the Niners. He doesn't have the leverage to go ahead. He can sit here and demand all he wants. The Niners knew that they're going to go ahead and do what they needed to do, and he was going to be stuck. Now, if we're right before the trade deadline, if we see that then somehow something crazy happens and the Niners are not in the mix, then I can see them going and pulling a trade. And if I see the trade happening, if they're not in the mix and somehow the Raiders are in the mix, I do see them trade them to the Raiders for that pick you just mentioned, that trade you just mentioned, a first-round pick and Adams to go ahead and pick him up. Yeah, I can see that happening because whoever they trade him to, he wants a long-term deal, big-time money. And the Jets they don't have the money to give him a long-term deal. This is not something for 6 months. He wants an extension. So it's going to be something he's not signing with unless he gets an extension. The Niners don't have to do anything with him. They have him for this year, and he's going to have to go ahead and take it. And, okay, I'm sorry that the Niners are favored in the NFC to win it right now, so we go ahead and do it. So, no, he's not going anywhere. As long as the Niners do what they need to do, he will be a Niner the rest of the year, and the next year he'll be an unrestricted free agent. If the Niners fall off a little bit, I see them trading him closer to the trade deadline. My guess, as long as the Raiders are in the mix, to the Raiders.
He's going to get moved way before that, Johnny. It's silly to think otherwise. You've dealt
silly
with this,
to think he's going to the Jets.
You've dealt with
That's
this
a pipe
headache.
dream.
You've dealt with this headache long enough. He's getting traded early. It's not going to happen. They're not going to wait midseason to do it.
They are. But as much fun as this has been, Chris, please, guys, make sure that you go ahead and follow us on X. What's our handle on X right now? Do you have it on fan?
FM Sports.
FM Sports on X. Please go ahead and follow us there. If you want to email us, it's flmansports@gmail.com. I'll put it right in front there. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or iHeart, however you listen to, we're available on everywhere you listen to us. Please continue to do so. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate you guys listening to me be correct over and over and over again. And let's pray for Chris. Let's make sure we pray for Chris.
The poor guy would never want to take credit. Poor guy.
Tampa 2, Monty Kiffin.
It's so bad.
See you guys.
So bad. Dude.